Afternoon, welcome. This is Saturday's 5 Live Sport. It's the Rugby Union World Cup final as New Zealand and South Africa look to make history.
New Zealand, the defending champion, have defended the World Cup. Colby, Colby wins the World Cup for South Africa. Khaleesi is mobbed by his teammates.
Our base from 3 is the Emirates as Arsenal look to close the gap on Tottenham at the top of the table.
Martinelli right foot deflected in. It came off Nathanaki and Arsenal held the lead.
They take on bottom of the table Sheffield United. Wolves face Newcastle, who'll be looking to bounce back from their midweek defeat.
I believe we can beat anybody in the division, and that is the same for Wednesday night against Dortmund. I think if we were at our best levels, we wouldn't have lost that game.
And are Chelsea turning a corner?
Oh, it's ended up in the back of the net. I think he meant that as well. Incredible goal from Mykhailo Mudryk. Wide on the left-hand side. What a strike.
Now, don't be shy, Dion. Come on, come on. During every time Alan is on and the theme music plays, he plays air maracas, as Alistair Bruce Ball does wherever he is in the country. Okay. And you actually whipped out of your bag during the music your own. What are they?
They're can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
They're percussion shakers. Which
right.
I designed them about 7 years ago.
Right.
And they're called Duke shakers. In fact, I know you can't see this, but they're individual shakers. So they there you go, chaps. There you go. One for you, Dave. One for you.
Right. So they're just a box with some rice in them.
A box with something in them, but they're all different tones.
Ah. All right.
Lighter.
Yeah.
See,
wow.
Very good. You see.
I mean, if we don't go on Britain's Got Talent for some kind of man band percussion artist, then I don't know.
We're all impressed, Dion.
Yeah, very good. Anyhow, so are they on sale?
They are on sale.
Right.
They are now.
They weren't, but thank you very much, champions. You can have that percentage you spoke about.
Deal Dublin, Alan Shearer, Statman Dave in the studio. So let me just tell you how the day's going to pan out. Rugby Union World Cup final, 8 o'clock tonight. South Africa against New Zealand. Plenty of build-up throughout the course of the afternoon. And then with our team out in Paris, once the 5:30 is over, that's Wolves against Newcastle with Alistair Bruce Ball and Paul Robinson. Only 2 Premier League games at 3 o'clock. Our base is the Emirates for Arsenal, Sheffield United, but all the goals as they go in up and down the country with Ian Dennis faster than anywhere else. We've got racing, we've got rugby league as well. You've got the Grand Prix later on. We'll keep you up to date with that. You'll be able to listen to that on Sports Extra. We've got the Cricket World Cup going on. Currently New Zealand 177 for 3 after 27 overs. They need 389 to beat the Aussies. That's one of the games going on. The other game going on, the Netherlands 142 for 5. They're batting first against Bangladesh. The lunchtime game is at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea against Brentford. John Southall.
Good afternoon, Mark. Some surprising team news for Chelsea. There's no Enzo Fernandez or Mykhailo Mudryk in the squad. I'm told they both have small muscle injuries. 3 changes from the draw with Arsenal. Fernandez, Mudryk and Gusto drop out. In come Axel Disasi, Noni Mudweke, his first start of the season, and Nicholas Jackson. We've spent much time mulling over how they might line up this afternoon. Could be a 3 at the back, but we're going to go for a 4 with Disasi right back, Colwell, Silva centre halves and Cucurella on the left hand side. Brentford will play 5 across the back. 2 changes from the win against Burnley. Aaron Hickey and Mads Roerslev return in the wing-back roles. Onyeka and Mopai both drop out. So the stat is Chelsea 1 home win in the last 12 league games here. Brentford have won both league matches at Stamford Bridge over the last 2 seasons, so this will hold no fears for them.
It won't, and the former Brentford boss Mark Warburton alongside John with us this afternoon. Hiya, Mark.
Mark, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I want to focus on Brentford first, and we'll do it with everybody in the studio as well, but do you think there's any element of their start to the season that they might be slightly disappointed with?
Yeah, I think the expectation now for the club, the days of little old Brentford are long gone. So expectations are high amongst football in general. The level of game they've played, the quality they've displayed consistently.
Two early games in the Championship. Let's start at Ellen Road. Leeds against Huddersfield. Vicky Sparks.
Yes, Leeds unbeaten at Ellen Road this season, up against Huddersfield at the other end of the table. One win in their last 7. And remarkably, in terms of points, third place Leeds are closer to Huddersfield in 21st than they are to Ipswich in second. That gap to the automatic promotion places stands at 9 points. In a bid to reduce that, Daniel Farker makes 4 changes from their midweek defeat by Stoke. Crescentio Somerville, who has 3 goals in his last 4 games, and Dan James return, as do Shackleton and Kamara. Huddersfield also lost in midweek, thumped 4-0 by Cardiff in the second defeat of Darren Moore's brief tenure. Influential midfielder Jaap Radoni is their latest injury absentee. Brahima Diarra replaces him. Tom Lee starts against his boyhood club, with Tom Edwards also coming in.
Next, let's go to St Mary's. Southampton looking to go 6 games unbeaten. They're taking on, and here's the standard phrase now, Wayne Rooney's Birmingham, who are still looking for their first win under their new boss, Chris Coles.
Still looking for their first win, Mark. Still looking for the first goal of the Rooney era. Only 2 games old, but the no fear football promised with the change of management might take time to materialise. Dramatic transitioning between styles isn't easy, just as Southampton, Russell Martin's brand of possession dominance, has had its teething problems, but the recent signs are good. Unbeaten in 5, a win could temporarily move them third. 4 changes for both, including a full Birmingham debut for centre-back Emmanuel Awu, joined in August on loan from Serie B side Cremonese. He's played just 2 minutes of football off the bench since, but gets his chance from the start under Rooney today.
Let's switch to the Cricket World Cup. The final, we're just over halfway through this tournament. I think the final's still 3 weeks away, isn't it? Henry Moran, something like that.
More than that, yeah.
Isn't
I think it's a week. It's a week tomorrow, and if we get the reserve day, then it could be going into the following week after that. So it is going on some time. I think we almost know the top 4 as well. So we could have quite a lot of group matches that don't have a huge amount riding on them. 2 of the top 4 we expect will be New Zealand and Australia, who are playing here in Dharamshala at the moment. Quite a good game on our hands as well. New Zealand need another 165 runs to win from 18 overs to chase down what would be a mighty total, 389, the target set by an Australian side who have really started finding some form in this tournament. Travis Head back into the side today, scored 109 off 67 deliveries and has set up this target of 389. New Zealand going along nicely though, 224 for 4 is the score. They need 165 to win from 18 overs.
You can listen to that on Sports Extra. Let's look ahead to the Rugby Union World Cup final then. This evening, full commentary from 8 o'clock, South Africa against New Zealand. Both sides looking to win the title for a historic 4th time. South Africa going for back-to-back titles. Set it up for us, Chris Jones.
2 greatest rugby nations on earth, arguably, Mark. The greatest rivalry in the sport, arguably, certainly the 2 most successful rugby union nations of all time. 3 World Cups each, 87, 11 and 15 for the All Blacks, 95, 07 and 19 for the Springboks. So, right, thank you. We will let you go. If you want to play the maracas on your way out, feel free.
They're called Jube Shakers. Bye-bye.
If you want to play your Jube Shakers on the way out, then feel free. And that's a good point from Dion, Mark Warburton, that the Chelsea do sort of look like they believe that another chance will come along, and another chance will come along. Let's switch our attentions to racing. We've got the final major race of the flat racing season at Doncaster this afternoon. John Hunt is there for us. It's an important day for one of racing's traditional powerhouses then, John.
Yes, indeed. The ownership group led by Sheikh Mohammed in Dubai. Godolphin, of course, their familiar blue colours have been celebrated in British flat racing for much of the last 30 years. But those horses in those colours, trained by Newmarket trainer Charlie Appleby, Mark, have really struggled to hit the heights. A major concern for such a big operation.
Let's talk EFL. George Elek from Not the Top 20 podcast joins us. Are we giving Leicester the title already? In fact, are you going to promote the top 2 in the Championship already?
Well, I don't think we can with Leeds' form and the scoreline there at the moment. But at the moment, certainly Leicester and Ipswich have been the most impressive to start. And I do think with Leicester, there seems to be a shrug of the shoulders from most people about the start that they've made. But it's the best Championship start ever, dated back to when the Championship started back in 2004.
Jaap Stam is going to join us for the next hour here on 5 Live. We'll talk about the fight tonight as well and the International Rugby League before Jaap joins us after the news with Stuart Clarkson.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Tyson Fury back in the ring tonight for the first time in more than 10 months, although his heavyweight world title won't be on the line because it's a crossover fight against the former UFC champion Francis Ngannou. Steve Bunce is in Riyadh. I'm always wary about this, Steve, because I've been asked to ask you, first of all, what you've been doing this morning, which, this could be anything, knowing you.
Well, actually, it was a bit of a boring morning, really. I went for a walk with Olympic bronze medalist Richie Woodall, and we got lost in the suburbs because I don't know if you've been in Riyadh. It's a massive sprawling city. It's about 80 literally miles across, and we got lost because there's no discernible landmarks. So we actually got lost. 2 adult grown men got lost.
From 2:30 this afternoon on BBC One, you'll be able to watch England against Tonga in the Rugby League. Second test in the 3-match series in Huddersfield. England won the opening game last week 22-18. Brian Noble part of the TV team, and it was a real contest last week. It's exactly what we wanted, Brian.
Absolutely, a proper test match, as they say, Mark. It was exciting. A little bit rusty, both teams, which you would expect. One's travelled from the Southern Hemisphere, and then England mixing and matching and putting a team together under Sean Wayne. So some clumsy bits in, I thought. I think today we'll see 2 much improved teams, and they'll get stuck into each other.
Jaap Stam has joined myself and Statman Dave in the studio. Do you watch the Dutch cricket?
No.
Okay, right,
sorry.
excellent. Move on.
No. It's not because I don't want to, but it's just I'm not in the opportunity to watch them.
Was cricket offered when you grew up?
No, it wasn't.
No. So it is a more modern phenonomen.
It came because it's of course very big in the UK and other countries as well. We all know that. And in Holland, number one sports is of course football, as everybody knows as well.
So just 2 Premier League games kick off at 3:00 this afternoon. Our base will be the Emirates. Arsenal against Sheffield United. Ian Dennis.
Good afternoon, Mark. Arsenal have made 5 changes. There's no Jesus or Partey, of course, who are both out injured, and there is a first league start of the season for Emile Smith-Rowe. So Nketiah, Kiwior, Havertz, Zinchenko and Smith-Rowe come in for Tomiyasu, Gabriel, Jorginho, Ødegaard and Jesus from the side that played Sevilla in the Champions League in midweek. Sheffield United 2 alterations, Brewster and Slimani for McBurney and Archer.
The other game at 3:00 sees Bournemouth without a win, taking on Burnley, who are also in the bottom 3. John Akers.
Yeah, 9 changes in total between them, these two struggling at the bottom. So Iriola makes 4 changes to the team that lost here against Wolves last week. The major one is their goalkeeper is not available. Injured his ankle in the week, out for 3 to 4 weeks. So Radu replaces him. Travers has been recalled from his loan at Stoke City and is on the bench. Mepham, Christie, Semenyo also into the side. Milos Kerkez and David Brooks drop to the bench. Lewis Cook misses out through suspension. And 5 changes then for Vincent Kompany, beaten 3-0 at Brentford last time. Vitinho, Josh Brownhill, Koleosho, Zarori are joined in the starting 11 by Goodmanson, who starts for the first time since September. He's had an ankle injury. Sander Berger, Trezor, Wilson Odobert, they're amongst the substitutes, and Lyle Foster misses out altogether.
From 8:00 tonight, full commentary of the Rugby Union World Cup final here on 5 Live. New Zealand against South Africa, and we'll hear from Sia Khaleesi in the next 20 minutes or so. It's 24 minutes to 3. Stuart Clarkson has the news.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
England men's rugby league side involved in a 3-match test series against Tonga. They won the first last weekend. How has the second one begun? Huddersfield, Richard Stead.
Pretty quiet, Mark. 5 minutes gone, no chances. In fact, neither side has visited the opposition's 20. We've just had a short break in play. Victor Radley took a bit of a knock from Tyson Frizzell, but 5 minutes gone, it's pointless.
Watch it on BBC One if you would like. Arsenal, Sheffield United are based from 3:00. Then Wolves against Newcastle at 5:30. Then straight to the Stade de France for the Rugby Union World Cup final between South Africa and New Zealand. Former All Black Andrew Merton's part of our team. How are you feeling?
Mark, I'm feeling like I'm getting through the day with a little bit of survival, which is all I was aiming for. It's been a big few weeks and still a long time to go until kickoff, so I'm sure the players are getting nervous. They'll get better, of course, as they get closer to the game.
Let's go round our 3 o'clocks. We'll start with the leaders. Leicester, they've won 12 of their 13 matches this season. So it could be a long afternoon for QPR, who've lost their last 5 and are yet to win at home this season. Aaron Paul is at Loftus Road.
Yeah, only one word can accurately describe the mood around Queen's Park Rangers this season, and that is miserable. And the stats back it up. 1 win in 20 home league games, 7 points from a possible 60 picked up at Loftus Road. No win in their last 8 overall. It does not make for pretty reading for Gareth Ainsworth and Cohen. So who would you least like to see pitch up here in West London? Leicester, of course. The Championship's entertainers have scored 27 goals so far this campaign. They bring Jamie Vardy back into their attack as part of 3 changes. Adoma and Kelman come in for Rangers.
Next to Portman Road, Ipswich are trying to keep up with Leicester at the top. They're taking on Plymouth, who ended their winless run during the week. Becky Ives.
They did, and Stephen Schumacher in his 100th game in charge of Argyle will be hoping his side can back it up with their first away win of the season as they face the side they beat to the League One title earlier this year. 3 changes today for them. Luke Cundall and Mikael Miller come in for Joe Edwards and Jordan Horton, whilst Ryan Hardy is restored up front after scoring his 6th goal of the season midweek, but had to do so from the bench. But Ipswich have taken to Championship life like a duck to water, looking for their 6th win from 7 here at home. Kieran McKenna's makes 2 changes. George Edmondson comes in to replace Cameron Burgess at the back, while Chelsea Loney Amari Hutchinson pushes Caden Jackson to the bench to claim that right-hand flank. George Hurst leads the line.
Hull, another side who ended a winless streak during the week. Their opponents Presta, hoping to do the same this afternoon. Betty Glover.
Good afternoon, Mark. Yeah, Hull celebrated their first win in 5 midweek against Birmingham, so that's 1 bad streak over. Now they've got to end the fact that they've had no win in their last 5 home games, while Preston haven't had a victory in their last 6, and they're looking for their first league win since mid-September. 1 change for both sides. Ryan Ledson starting for Hull in for Maz Frocchia, while Preston are without 20-year-old Tyler Morton, who's injured, so Jason Lakillo is in. Not a lot separates these two, Mark. 2 points at the top end of the Championship table, and in both games last season they drew 0-0, so I think we're in for a good one.
Right next to the Cardiff City Stadium. Cardiff looking for back-to-back wins. Their visitors today are Bristol City. Sheridan Robbins.
Yes, the 7-side derby as this one is billed. Cardiff sit just outside the playoff places on goal difference and have named an unchanged side after their 4-0 thrashing of Huddersfield in midweek. Bristol City are ravaged by injuries, with manager Nigel Pearson making his feelings known in recent weeks about the lack of numbers and uncertainty over his future. He's forced into 3 changes, with 17-year-old youth player Joseph James making his full debut at left-back after getting 4 minutes on the pitch in the 1-0 defeat at home to Ipswich on Wednesday. A tough ask for Bristol City, who sit 13th in the Championship.
And now Middlesbrough could make it 7 wins in a row in the league this afternoon if they beat Stoke, who themselves are looking for their 3rd in a row. Lee Blakeman.
The numbers surrounding Borough at the moment, Mark, are superb. 6 league wins in a row, 7 in a row in all competitions, 13 wins from their last 19 home league games, and they've lost just 1 of their last 10 against today's opponent, Stoke. Borough could go 5th with a win, that having failed to win any of their first 7. Stoke lost their goalkeeper yesterday as Mark Travers was recalled by Bournemouth because of problems down there. Stoke looking to win 3 league games in a row for just the 2nd time in 7 years.
Sunderland have lost their last 3, but they do have the league's top scorer in Jaap Clark, so can he fire them to a win against Norwich, who've lost 3 of their last 4? Maz Faruqi.
Yep, Clark has 8 already this season. Reportedly, he's the focus of interest from both Brentford and Burnley. So you imagine as we inch towards the next transfer window, keeping him at Sunderland might be one of Tony Mowbray's concerns come January. Sunderland did lose at Leicester in midweek, but they did play well. So Mowbray sticks with pretty much the same 11, just the 1 change up front. Nazari Roosen in place of Mason Burstow. Norwich started the season so well away from home under David Wagner, but October has brought a bit of a wobble. They also lost in midweek at home to Middlesbrough. There are 4 changes from that side.
Into League One, leaders Portsmouth are on a 25-match unbeaten run in the league. They've travelled to Reading today and they've lost their last 4. Paul Scott.
All is not well amongst the Royals family. A day of protest organised for today against the Reading owner Di Young. Up to 1,000 fans marching from the town centre to the stadium making their displeasure known. It's a reign that has seen missed tax payments, points deductions and transfer embargoes, and they're under the threat of back-to-back relegations. It is not a great backdrop then to welcome the league leaders fixtures. Pompey simply do not lose at the moment, although their 6-game winning run in the league came to an end with a 0-0 draw at Cambridge last time out.
Into League Two, leaders Stockport host Tranmere whilst the teams behind them face each other. It's Notts County against Wrexham, second against third Nas Prenju.
Afternoon, chappers. The rivalry between these two formed in the National League and has continued into League Two post-promotion, both flying and both on course for back-to-back elevations. Wrexham have only lost once in the league away from home. Notts County have only lost once in the league here at Meadow Lane. Something has to give. No Taylor Swift or any sign of any Swifties, despite the disappointment, have managed to shake it off.
Oh, very good. Into the Scottish Premiership, leaders Celtic are looking to make it 7 wins in a row. They face Hibs. Ailey Barber.
Afternoon, chappers, and if they do, it will put them 10 points clear, with Rangers hosting Hearts tomorrow. Brendan Rodgers has just made the one enforced change from that superb Champions League draw against Atletico Madrid midweek. Bernardo in for the injured Hattasi. Hibs are looking to bounce back from a 4-0 defeat to Rangers at the weekend, with manager Nick Montgomery rebuffing claims he showed a naivety taking on one of the old firm with a 4-2-4 system. He's stuck with it today, and he'll need more in defensive transitions, or this could be very much one-way traffic.
Thank you, Ailey. Now let's go into the Premier League. Only 2 games kick off at 3 o'clock. Earlier, by the way, if you haven't heard, Chelsea 0, Brentford 2 was how the lunchtime game finished. The first of the 2 3 o'clocks then, Bournemouth against Burnley. The last time Burnley lost 7 of their opening 9 top-flight fixtures was 135 years ago in the first season of the Football League. John Akers.
Yes, and the Bournemouth manager Iraola has had the vote of confidence from the Bournemouth board this week after that defeat to Gary O'Neill's Wolves team here last weekend. He's also lost his goalkeeper and captain Neto for a few weeks to an ankle injury. He's one of 4 changes to the starting 11. Radu replaces him in goal. Iraola says he knows he's under pressure if they lose. Burnley are also in the bottom 3, just a point ahead of them. Vincent Kompany's made 5 changes to the team that lost 3-0 at Brentford last week. Goodmanson's back, and striker Lyle Foster is missing altogether. He woke up this morning feeling unwell.
Thank you very much. Our base from 3 o'clock then is the Emirates, where Ian Dennis, they are about to pay tribute to Sir Bobby Charlton.
Yes, this is the applause for one of England's finest, Sir Bobby Charlton.
Which will start and stop on the referee's whistle to mark the contribution both have made to the game.
A wonderful tribute to Sir Bobby Charlton, whose photo still remains on the giant screens here inside the Emirates Stadium. The country's record goal scorer for over 40 years. He scored at Highbury, incidentally, for England twice in a World Cup qualifier against Luxembourg in 1961. Played many times for Manchester United against the Gunners during a 17-season top-flight career. The very first time, February the 1st, 1958, when he scored in a 5-4 win for Matt Busby's team at Highbury. The match holds a special significance as the visitors' last before travelling to play Red Star Belgrade in the European Cup, and the subsequent tragic plane crash in Munich on February the 6th, where of course Bobby lost many teammates and friends. And that was a wonderful tribute by Arsenal Football Club, which I'm sure you'd agree, Stephen Warnock.
Yeah, quite superb. I think when you think of a playing career as a young boy starting out, you want to leave a legacy. He left an incredible legacy, I think, as a human being as well. So highly spoke about, and a lovely tribute by Arsenal.
It's going to be Arsenal's longest unbeaten run to a start of a season in 16 years, because they've beaten Sheffield United by 5-0. A first Premier League hat-trick for Eddie Nketiah. He's already bagged the match ball. Tomiyasu with his first goal for the club, and Vieira's first league goal at the Emirates, and another heavy defeat for Sheffield United. Thanks to Stephen Warnock. More from him in Sports Report, I'm sure. But full time at the Emirates, Arsenal 5, bottom of the table, Sheffield United 0.
all the full times to come in the next half hour. Good afternoon, I'm Mark Chapman. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live at just after 5 o'clock, and this is Sports Report. The headlines this Saturday tea time. It's been a day to remember for Arsenal's Eddie Nketiah.
Nketiah with the effort. Oh, what a way to score your first hat-trick in the Premier League. That was a rocket by Nketiah, right-footed into the top left-hand corner.
5-0 it finished against Sheffield United. Bournemouth get their first win of the season thanks to a Philip Billing goal from 40 yards against Burnley. Brentford make it back-to-back wins for the first time this season. They win 2-0 at Chelsea. Wolves Newcastle is at half-5. Alistair Bruce Ball.
Newcastle's squad is getting stretched. They come up against an in-form Wolves team this evening. Semedo and Lemina return from suspension for them. Callum Wilson starts for Newcastle, the only change from the defeat to Dortmund on Wednesday.
Leaders Leicester City needed an 80th minute winner from Harry Winks to beat QPR 2-1 in the Championship. Middlesbrough's 7-game winning streak is over after they lose at home to Stoke. League One leaders Portsmouth come from 2 down to beat Reading 3-2. Stockport make it 10 wins in a row and remain top of League Two with a 2-0 win at home to Tranmere. In the Scottish Premiership, Celtic drew 0-0 at Hibs. At the Cricket World Cup, there were wins for Australia and the Netherlands. In Rugby League, England beat Tonga 14-4 to secure the series with a game to spare. And we're just under 3 hours away from the Rugby Union World Cup final, which you can hear in full here on 5 Live between South Africa and New Zealand. We'll get as much reaction as we can to the day's top stories over the next 25 minutes or so before we head to Molineux for Wolves against Newcastle. You get Rugby Union World Cup final from 8 o'clock. All the build-up at the conclusion of our commentary from Molineux. Wolves against Newcastle. Paul Robinson, the former England goalkeeper, is alongside Alistair Bruce Ball.
Thank you, Mark. Cracking atmosphere in the West Midlands inside this great old football ground. Referee Anthony Taylor, all in black with the rain tumbling down all around him, gives it a long loud blast on the whistle to try and get the game started, but 3 Newcastle players in their strident green shirts, the change kit this afternoon, had set off too early, so we're going to do that again. We've done it again and we are underway. Our second Premier League commentary of the afternoon on 5 Live Sport. Wolves against Newcastle. Newcastle with an early attack down the right. Ball into the penalty area from Bruno Guimaraes first time. Mateusz Cunha controls the clearance. He's fouled by Guimaraes. That'll be a free kick to Wolves. Straight away, Paul Robinson. You and I both had Wolves written down as a back three of Max Kilman, Craig Dawson and Totti Gomez. It looks slightly different this afternoon, the way they've started.
He does. It looks like Gary O'Neill's changed it up to match his opposite number, Eddie Howe. He's playing with a back four. Totti Gomez has dropped in at left back. Semedo in at right back.
His own half. My stopwatch tells me we've now played the 8 minutes of added time. Anthony Taylor agrees, and the two teams share the spoils. Newcastle twice in front, twice they were pegged back. It finished 2-2. Massive blow for Wolves, losing Neto to the hamstring injury in the second half. Paul Robinson, that will affect them going forward. But really enjoyed that.
It was a fantastic game of football. Like I said there, just at the end of the game, 2 managers will be delighted what they've seen from their team. Both had a game plan. Both sets of players gave absolutely everything out there. Newcastle, having played midweek against Dortmund, there's a lot of tired bodies out there. You can see the centre halves. Dan Burn just got through. They had to dig deep. They had to go places where they train. That's what they train for. They train hard to get there. The Wolves players under Gary O'Neill, indifferent start to the season, but you can see that they've really turned a corner. 2 very good teams there, and that was really enjoyable.
Paul Robinson, thank you very much for your company this evening. I'm sure you will hear Paul again soon on a 5 Live football commentary, somewhere hopefully a little bit drier than Molineux tonight. It has finished Wolves 2, Newcastle 2. Wolves move up a place in the Premier League table, above Crystal Palace on goal difference to 12th. Newcastle stays 6th, and if the Rugby Union World Cup final, Sonia McLaughlin, is going to be played in conditions like this in the West Midlands this evening, it's going to be very challenging indeed. It has not stopped raining all night.
Yeah, we have a squall here as well. That could be a right old leveller, as they say, don't they? But the party started here, the crowd having a high old time despite the rain. Pop star Mika's going to get these fans on their feet when he performs shortly. It's the big dance for the Webb Ellis Cup. Chris Jones, how fitting is this finale?
Well, we thought, didn't we, pre-tournament, this could have been the time the Northern Hemisphere dominated In another world, it could be Ireland and France tonight, but it's not. It's these two great rugby nations who, when it mattered most in the knockouts, got the job done to book their place at the main event. Both have won 3 Rugby World Cups. Someone is winning a 4th tonight. The greatest rivalry in the sport, playing for the sport's biggest prize.
We can't wait. Coming up, all the build-up to this monumental final. But first, here's the news on 5 Live with Stuart Clarkson.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.